Well,
or atheism.
do you know what the word atheism means?
Yeah, we can go into the etymology and say what the word comes from A, and then
No, I don't care about what
theos
I don't care about. I don't care about that. I just mean the word atheism.
But that's where the word comes
atheist,
from, isn't it?
The word atheist is the prefix a means without, and theist means belief in God. So,
But you just did what I said.
That's
what I was just saying.
I can speak on the position. Yes, I can't speak for other people, but I can speak on the position. Yes.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Going to the what you've just done is just you went to the etymology. That's based on the Greek a and without, a meaning without, and theos God. So atheist is someone who's without God, right? So you went to the etymology. That's what I was saying. If that's
without
what you
belief,
wanted to do, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it would be without God there, without theos there.
It's without belief in God, because theist means belief in God. So means without or no. So without belief in God is what that is.
Yeah, so without a God, right?
No, without belief in God. Without belief in God.
So what's the difference between without belief in God and without God?
Theist means belief in God. Atheist means without or no belief in God. So you're not without God, you're without belief in God. Technically speaking, everyone is without God, because God is like a made up concept. It's nothing that it's not.
Okay, good. You just made a claim right now, right? God is a made up concept. Can you prove that God is a made up concept?
I don't have to. Basically, it's like you asking me, can you prove that there is no Tinkerbell or no Tooth Fairy? Of course I can. These are things that we made up, and I can't disprove. I can't disprove a positive. So the person with a positive claim that says there is a God is actually the one with the burden of proof, not the skeptic.
No, but okay, sure. Now, to answer what you've just said, no one here has made claims so far except you. And the claim that you posited is that God is a made up concept, which is a positive claim. Okay.
Sure. Yes, but it does not require.
If you allow me, I allow you. We need to allow each other to talk, right? Okay. Sure. So I will allow you, and you allow me, right? So you making the claim there's absence of evidence. You know that there is a very well known thing is the absence of evidence does not mean evidence of absence. Just like because you did not come across evidence for a specific thing, whether it is the tooth fairy tale or whatever it is, that doesn't mean that thing doesn't exist. But now to compare an imaginary creature with an entity that most people believe in. Most people believe them throughout history. We've got multiple thousands of people who claim, or let's say millions of people who claim to have experiences with that entity. We've got books, prophets, messengers throughout history that have been sent, speaking about or saying that they're sent by the entity. Compare it to a concept like the tooth fairy tale. I would say that's not a fair thing to do. That's a very disingenuous thing to do. That's what I would personally say. But okay, what is the gist from you said you want to come on behalf of atheism or atheist or whatever you think you can present, and you saw that when I was talking to the people I was not saying correct things. Do you have a specific point that you want to bring up?
Well, I just want to address what you've just said, because yes, I made an assertion that God is made up, but like I said, I can't say that there is no God. It's like if I do say there is no God, I can only do as accurately as I say that there is no Tinkerbell or Peter Pan, because none of these things actually have scientific evidence in the real world. They are just things that we've created. So although it is a statement that I've made, it does not require a proof or evidence from me.
Why do you assume that only type of evidence is scientific evidence?
Well, you need something that's testable, right? We need to be able to test the information that someone gives us to show that it's correct. If we can't test it, then we can't know that what the person's saying is accurate.
But that's not the scientific method, though. The scientific... do you know what the scientific method is?
Yes.
What is it?
Go ahead with your statement.
No, but 20 questions. No. But you just were speaking on behalf of science, right?
The word science means to know. It's about our knowledge. No,
I was talking about scientific method. What is the scientific method? Which is the whole science is based upon, obviously. Scientific method.
Right.
Scientific method is to study the physical, natural world through experimentation, repeatability, and falsification. Right. So we only study things which we can empirically test.
Right.
Okay. So there are things which other forms of logic and deductive reasoning that we use that can be a valid form of epistemology, which is a different source of knowledge that is not necessarily based on science. Like, for example, if I said to you, prove science using science, you're not going to be able to do that, because that would be self-defeating circular reasoning. So not everything is proved through science.
What else do we use besides science?
Science, yeah, I'm telling you. Science itself has assumptions, like, for example, mathematics, reasoning, logic, things which are intuitive, like, for example, that we exist, that the universe exists. All of these are things which are assumptions that science has to rely on. Science relies on the idea that everything will remain constant. Tomorrow will be like yesterday, and yesterday will be like tomorrow and next week, right? All of these are assumptions that science cannot prove, that are not based on the scientific method, that are not testable, but without them, science cannot function. Deductive reasoning, mathematics, for example, as a form of deductive reasoning, without science cannot work without these things. But these things can work outside of science, and they are legitimate by themselves to prove the existence of a specific thing or not.
I don't think they work outside of science. I think
mathematics doesn't work outside of science.
Math is conceptual. We use that, yes. But I don't see what that has to do with the existence of your God. Like, what does that do?
No, but we have to be honest in the conversation, Ted, right? You just said they cannot be used, and then you agreed they can be used with, like mathematics, right? I didn't speak about my God before you say.
Not be scientific? Why would mathematics?
If you just allow me, you just allow me to finish, right? When you say your God, I'm not bringing any God yet, right? We're just having a chill conversation about epistemology, right? I didn't go into religion yet about my God or your God or their God, right? It's only one God. But my point is very simple. I was saying. You made a statement that there's no scientific evidence for those things. I would say that's not the only type of evidence out there. Testimony can be a valid type of evidence. Deductive reasoning can be a valid. What
was the first one?
Testimony can be a valid type of knowledge.
You think testimony is valid?
Of course, science relies on testimony.
I think evidence is the lowest form of evidence for anything.
Evidence is the lowest form of evidence? You mean testimony?
Yeah, I said testimony. You can't
you said evidence, but it's okay.
You can't use someone's story as a verification that something exists. Like if I say that Tinkerbell is true, and I say, how do you know that? And I give you a testimony, that's not really giving evidence of testimony.
Why do you assume? Yeah, why do you assume all testimony is equal?
It cannot be. It cannot be tested. That's why we require.
No. Why do you assume? I want you to listen to. Just try to work with me. Yeah. Why do you assume all types of testimony is equal? All history is based on testimony, for example, but it's not a testimony if one individual who says X exists. It's multiple sources that are often separated by time or separated by space, that they would not be colluding to present that information, which makes the information reliable. If I'm going to my building and there is someone coming down and saying there's a fire, run away.
Okay, I don't need an analogy. I don't need an analogy.
No, but it's not. You're not the only person here. There's people watching as well.
Okay, all right.
Maybe it can be beneficial for them.
But they're not really having the conversation. We are.
No. But it's okay to clarify for people listening as well, right? So ignoring their existence is not a nice thing to do. I would say not everyone has the same level of intelligence as you are. I'm assuming you understood my point, but some people might not have understood it, right? So someone coming down saying there's a fire. That's one person. That's one testimony. Now another person comes, another person comes, another person comes.
Yes,
and all of them claiming there is a fire. That's a legitimate. It's very legitimate for us to accept that testimony as a source of knowledge, or unless we say all of these people are crazy, just running and saying there's fire for no reason, right?
Okay, that's first of all, I understand you want to try to point things out for your listeners. However, that is a false analogy because we know that fires exist. We don't know what God is, so it's two different things.
When did I say testimony is proof of God?
Well, it's if you try to say that there are other ways of knowing something, testimony
you have a problem
with
God, Ted, don't you? I think you have a big issue with God, Ted, and you see God everywhere, right? Doesn't matter what I talk about. It doesn't matter what I talk. It doesn't matter what I talk about.
That's what the topic of this conversation is about. You're a Muslim. You believe in a God, and I do not. I'm an atheist.
No, nothing in the since the start of this conversation, I did not mention anything about God. You've did
that. That's okay. That's fine. Okay,
two or three times, right?
That's
sure.
Fine. Then
so I know it's okay. It's okay. You see God in your life. Maybe you had a bad experience or something. I don't know what it is. But right now, I'm not talking about God. I'm talking in abstract. I don't
believe in any God, so I don't have a bad experience with the God.
It's okay. No problem. It's all right. It's okay. So all I was saying is the following. There's something called epistemology, and epistemology is the sources of knowledge. I was talking about testimony being a valid source of knowledge. That is now to do with God or not to do with God. That's a separate discussion. Now we're talking about whether testimony is a valid source of information or not. I give an example of the fire because that's a valid source of information for us to accept the testimony of those people that there was a fire. Now, if you want to move into God and not God, that's a separate story. All I'm establishing here is that there's something called epistemology. Your reactions don't change what I'm saying, by the way, right? So all I'm establishing here, there's something called epistemology, and these are different sources of knowledge coming to acquire knowledge about the world. It's not the only way is a scientific method. That no one believes that, right? Maybe some atheists do. but not the rest of the world. Because the people who are practicing science themselves, they know that there is.
When it comes to asserting that a God exists, yes, a being exists, something that we know nothing about exists. Yes, you will need, not only do you need evidence to show it exists, but you also need a definition of what that thing is. So
Excellent.
trying to
So
use an analogy, well, that's just it. What do you mean to me? I don't believe in a God. I don't know what it is.
When you just said there is no God, what idea or conception or understanding did you have in your mind when you said that?
I don't have a definition for it. I'm just going by an abstract.
What does the word mean to you? The word,
just an abstract idea that is not well defined. People try to attribute it as a creation of everything.
Okay.
It's basically this power that created everything. But
okay.
and that's what people that's what people assert it is, but they don't really give much of a definition. So technically,
Muslims don't give you a definition of God?
We do not have a valid definition of a God, nor do we have any good evidence to show that one exists. So that's the problem that we have in any religion, whether it be yours or Christianity or thousands of other religions that are out there that have deities in them.
Okay, so Muslims, when they speak to you, they don't give you a description of God? I don't know if you spoke with Muslims before or not.
No one gives a very good definition of a deity.
No, not very good. It's just subjective to you. We're not really interested in subjective feelings here. I'm talking, do they give a definition of God or not?
It's not about subjective feelings. It's about one that's scientific.
Again, we're going in a circle here. The reason I tackled this idea...
There's no reason to think that God
Ted,
does not have
if you allow me to finish,
basis.
Ted, I don't know why you're getting angry. Look, relax, Ted. We're just having a nice discussion.
Well, it's just the way that you frame yourself.
No need for you to get angry. I don't know why you get angry. Look, relax, Ted. Okay, look, I'm saying to you very nicely, the reason I dealt with this idea of epistemology is to reject this premise that you have that everything has to be scientific. Then you come back again after us discussing what epistemology is, and it's not the only valid source of knowledge, and you say, but that's not scientific. We just agreed that not everything has to be scientific because there's other valid sources of knowledge.
Okay, so what can you use to show a God exists? That if are you saying that does not require science?
I'm not trying to show you God exists. Who said to you I'm trying to show you God exists?
All right. Why don't you share with me what you think a God is and how you know one exists?
Okay, that's much better. I appreciate this way of saying it, right? Because let me establish something very important. Me, as a Muslim specifically, my religion doesn't teach me to convince anyone. I personally believe, or I personally know, that the idea of God's existence is innate within every human being. And there is a lot of research already to establish that. Like Oxford University conducted a study. People are atheists like yourself who speak on behalf of their own atheism. Like Justin Barrett conducted an experiment, 57 academics, and it was a period of 3 years, and they brought children from different countries, and they concluded that this belief of God is innate. Every civilization that existed in human history believed in some sort of a higher entity. They all had this idea in their mind. It's a part of their human existence and nature. For me, this idea, a movement of atheism, is a new thing. And you can say whatever. I'm telling you what I believe. You don't have to accept what I believe. You just asked me to tell you what I think, right? So I'm telling you what I think, okay? I'm not trying to convince you here. I don't need to. So this is why I think it's a part of the human existence, and I'm giving this the researchers an idea for that. There's many other evidences as well. Also, what we say as Muslims is the following. The description of God is very simple. Uniquely one, independent, meaning everything else has to rely and depend on that thing, and eternal. Does not beget nor is born, meaning it does not resemble the creation of the reproductive organs and having something before it and something after it, because that would not make any rational sense. And it is completely unique in its existence. So it does not resemble anything. Anything that we see or think about does not resemble the Creator. The Creator is beyond that, right? This is our description of God, description of what we call Allah. It's very simple. There's one Creator.
Oh, you think it's simple? Really?
Independent. Yeah, there's one Creator that is independent, self-sufficient. It's not like His creation.
Okay, so these are words that was made up about your God, but it doesn't really tell us what it is, right?
Can you explain what you mean? Words made up about my God? What do you mean?
Yeah. Basically, it tells us nothing of what this God is. I mean, do you know of anything that's eternal? So, do you know of anything that's like? What does it mean to be independent? How's that?
Is English your first language?
Okay.
No, it's a question. It's a genuine question. Is English your first language?
Look, just answer the question.
But I'm asking you a question to explain to you.
Do you know of anything that's eternal?
Is English
tell us anything?
Is English your... I will answer the question, but can you just deal with what I said? Is English your first language?
Assume it is and continue, please.
Okay, do you understand English well?
What do you think?
I'm asking you. I don't want to make assumptions.
Just continue the conversation. Yes.
Why are you getting very aggressive? For what reason? Okay, look, the reason I'm asking you is because I just spoke to you in English, and then you said that doesn't give us any information, which
Yes,
is it's one of
that's
two
correct.
things. It's either you heard nothing I said, or you don't understand English language.
Or
So I
what you
assume.
said,
So I assume
or
again, you're
what you
interrupting me
said,
when I'm speaking. Look,
or
look,
what you said does not
Ted, be
pertain to
honest
the
with me.
answer
Look,
to the
look,
question.
Ted, be honest with me. Do I let you speak, or do I interrupt you when you speak? Be
Oh,
honest.
boy. Wow.
You're not going to answer that, are you?
You're very you're
Just
slightly,
like I let
you're
you speak.
slightly patronizing.
Just I don't know
And
how that is being
condescending.
patronized.
And
I don't know.
condescending. Yes,
Okay,
you are.
no problem.
Yes, you
I am
are.
sorry you feel that way, but the point
Well,
is this,
it's
right?
pretty evident. Yeah.
No problem. The point is this: I will let you speak. You let me speak. That was the rules from the beginning of the discussion, right? So me reminding you of the rules is not me being condescending. It's me reminding you. I said
I didn't
in the beginning.
I didn't say that was.
No, but you were interrupting multiple times, and I said to you, let me speak. Okay, so when I was saying, do you understand English language? Because it was one of two options: either you didn't listen to any word I said, or you do not understand the English language. When we say something is
hold on.
again,
No, those are not the only options. Those are not the only options.
Ted,
No. Excuse me.
I would recommend Ted. I would recommend that probably you go to someone who's specialized in medicine. Perhaps you have anger issues and things like that.
So this is how you debate.
I don't think the issue is to do with God's existence.
You use these weird words here.
No problem. Ted, do you need anything else before I let you go?
Well, I want you to explain how you think that defines your God in any way.
I can't explain if you shout at me when I'm speaking.
Yeah, that's good. You gotta do things your own little way that does not pertain to the conversation. You can't have a logical discussion on it, can you?
Okay. Pleasure talking to you, Ted.
Yeah, okay.
And I hope Allah guides you one day. And
what is that? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Read the Quran. Read the Quran. I can send you a copy if you like.
If you what does that tell us about anything? How does that tell us what a God is? How?
It tells us very well. I've been doing this for I've been doing this for a while, and every person on earth I spoke to, and I give them a description of.